Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Welcome to the Apollo Audio Podcast.
Hello.
Woo! I did a woo. Took myself by surprise. I am Martin Lumsden, producer engineer, and as always, I am Wiz.
I'm Billy Hills, owner, director.
We got a full name and occupation this week.
Yeah,
that's unusual.
Well, I think today is cause for celebration because I signed the lease for extending the studio yesterday.
Did you?
So we're here for at least another 3 years.
Okay.
So can't get rid of us.
That's exciting.
So maybe we'll finish the 500 albums in 3 years. Someone do the maths on that.
Well, even when we started doing the 500 albums at 2 a week in 2001 with Miles.
2001?
That was when we first started doing it. Not 2001.
That surprised me.
Sorry.
One a year.
I missed a digit. 2021.
Yeah.
I think I figured out then it was going to take us nearly 5 years.
Oh, okay.
And now we're only doing one a week, and we don't always do the 500 albums, so
I'll just keep extending the lease then.
it's going to take a while. Yeah, we can't leave until we've done all the albums.
It's in the contract, yeah.
Put that in the contract. Well, that's exciting news.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's exciting, so
Splendid.
it's good.
Yeah,
And I'll do a bit of a
maybe we
celebration.
should aim to make 500 albums in the next 3 years.
That would be amazing.
That would be impossible, I think.
Yeah. I have to outsource some. And you've been recording this week as well. We was recording yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah, quite a few things. We had a live session last weekend, live in studio session last weekend. We had a more what would be the right way of putting it? A more focused production project. Is that a good
Who you
way of
talking
putting
about?
it? Chloe.
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
the guys who were in that last week, because it's a live in studio session,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
everybody's in the room playing live. Whereas yesterday, we were working in a different way because we were putting down drums
punching in
and then
and that,
bass
yeah.
to songs that already, and then there's still guitars. There's guitars already down, and there's other bits to do, and then vocals to come back into. But they're all going to happen on different days at different times. So it's just a different. It's the opposite extremes of working, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind-
yeah.
You know, you come in the day and the songs are recorded.
Yeah.
The final recording on this one might be done next month.
Yeah.
It's just a different.
It's different. And I think that's the opposite end of the spectrum when we do recording. Like, if you're doing pre-production for a proper album, you'd probably do what the band did last week and do some live takes, get a feel for it,
Yeah.
get a feel for the structure, and then you'd punch in like Chloe did. And so
Yeah.
there's two different ways of doing it, and
Yeah.
they both have their benefits. Don't they?
Definitely, and I think for a young band starting up who are doing really well, they've played lots of gigs, they've got their songs together, they're well rehearsed, all that kind of stuff. But still, I think it's a good foundation to have done a day in the studio and walk out the door basically knowing that you've got 5 or 6 tracks done that you can then do stuff with, and not think about it as, oh, I have to have a single out. I mean, you know, I get the excitement about that.
Yeah.
But actually, now we've got 4 or 5 tracks, 5 or 6 tracks that we can share with our potential audience.
Yeah.
Put them online, whether it's on SoundCloud or maybe you do end up sticking them out, but you put it out as I think that's what they're going to say. This is our live EP, not here's our new single. But then that gives you loads of opportunity, I think, to have said, right, we're now in the studio. They hadn't done this sort of thing before. They've now been in the studio. They understand a little bit about more what's happening. They'll be able to listen back to the tracks and think, yeah, that's the bits that work. These are the ones we like. These are the ones that maybe need a little bit of work. Your fan base can hear that as well and say, I would love that. That's our favourite one. Maybe do that one as a single and pull that together. And as a producer, you know, if I did get the chance to work with those guys again, if they wanted to come back and make an actual record, an EP or a single, I've now got the opportunity to go, yeah, I think these tracks are the strongest ones.
Yeah.
These ones are the ones we could work on first. These are the ones we could develop into other stuff. These ones could be enhanced. And now we've got a much more collaborative approach to it. Everybody gets to know each other a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds really good.
It's
I'm a
a
big
sort
fan
of,
of them.
it's not demo. It's more than demo. But it's more in that domain than it is in the sort of fully polished release.
Well, but they're
part.
still coming back to polish up. They're going to do like retake vocals and bits.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
can,
it
like,
gives you the
sample bits.
opportunity to do that, yeah.
Yeah. But you was playing earlier, and I thought it sounded. I said to you, it doesn't sound like it's a live. I don't mean
No.
that in any other because you can tell a live recording sometimes, just like the
Yeah.
rawness from it. But this sounded polished, and they're a tight band anyway.
Yeah.
Like we've always said, it's in the performance.
Yeah.
Like you can have the best producer in the world, which we have at Poly Audio, it's mine. But if you're not playing it properly, then
It makes
Sounds
such a
legit,
difference. You know what you're playing. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, we say it's like recorded live in studio. That's different from. We've recorded our gig, which is there's us playing live.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not quite the same as that because we are like everything's in different parts of the room.
yeah.
You're not set up on the stage playing live. You are playing all together, but I had one of the guitar cabs was locked away in the isolation booth.
Yeah.
We had various shielding. I was using direct lines for the bass.
Yeah.
And loads of like rugs and stuff over one of the guitar cabs,
really?
which actually made no difference whatsoever. It was hilarious. I thought we'll try and like shield this off a little bit, put loads of stuff on the top of it, and he played again and went, I can't tell the difference. But it does make a difference in the end. But yeah, that's a different approach to live. But it was so much fun, and then to do a completely different thing with Chloe, which is right. Let's just lay down the bass part.
Yeah.
Or spend a little time actually thinking about how we want the drums to sound and move mics around. And
Because
put them in
me and
different
Jack
places.
weren't involved in the songwriting process, and I had a few bits in mind. I basically knew the root notes, and I had like a groove in my head.
Yeah.
But because it's Chloe's song, I don't want to overplay or whatever. So we sort of was sort of like not making up as we go along. That sounds bad.
Yeah.
It was, what do you think of this bit? And was punching in certain parts. She
Yeah.
had an idea for like to double up on the melody on the bass there, and it took a few takes, didn't it? But
Yeah.
we got there in the end, and I think, especially, I was listening to it with your drums, and
Yeah.
Jack didn't stray too far from it.
No.
But that's different as well. That's why I didn't want to cement something that I can't really. It's hard when you hear something and then have to change it, especially
Yeah.
rhythmically. So
And that's why I do it.
Yeah.
That's why we did it in that order. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I've put drums and other instruments onto this originated track.
Yeah.
Which was basically guitar and vocal. But they think, well, how do we make this into a song? That's all, the sort of part. How do we make this into a record? How do we take this song, which Chloe goes out and plays by herself with a guitar, and make that into a record, which is not just you and a guitar. It's some drums, it's some bass, it's some keyboards, it's all that kind of stuff. So, my approach was, I'm going to figure out where I think the stops are, where the breaks are, where I think the fills should be, what the vibe should be, but then get the experts in to go, like, what I want is a human being to actually play this now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in general, that's what I want, but now I want you.
So
Because
did
you're the talent, right?
Thank you.
I mean that. That's like
Yeah.
why you and Jack were in there, because it's like, what do you want me to play? I said, I don't want you to play you've got the idea, you've got the vibe, you know where the breaks are, you know where the stops are, and I will kind of say, I really want a fill here, I want this type of fill here.
Yeah.
I'll do that as a producer. But out with that, it's just be you,
Yeah.
because that's why I want you to play on it.
Did she just give you guitar and vocals then? So did you
Yeah.
put everything on top?
Yeah.
That sounded amazing. That sounded really. I know it's your job, but I was like, well, I thought she spent ages doing it in like GarageBand and then gave it to you and was putting it on top. But
No.
I was well impressed by the feels and that
what
as well.
she
It sounded
sent me was a guitar and vocal.
cool. Yeah.
And it was one stereo like file, guitar and vocal. So I split the guitar from the vocal, and then just made an arrangement underneath it and put the vocal,
really
back
good.
on it again. And then we've retracked the guitars, and now we've done the drums and the bass, and then we'll go back and do the vocals, and we'll just tidy it all up, and it'll be
really great
it'll be
song.
beautiful.
It's really catchy. Lana LaHavis and
Yeah,
I can't say her name. Corny Bailey Ray. or whatever.
Corinne Bailey Ray.
Very sort of vibe,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we've been
man,
saying
so-
that we need to get a live band for when she releases.
Yeah.
We'll do a little studio gig. But it's cool. Yeah, really
Yeah.
good. I've ordered my vinyl player with speakers, so we've been listening
Yeah.
on Charlotte's vinyl player for a while,
Yeah.
and we've just been listening to like the actual tinniness of the actual vinyl coming out because it just
yeah?
doesn't connect to the Bluetooth for some reason. So I've got all these new albums, and I ChatGPT'd, I like Google Gemini the best ones, and the best one with speakers is this audio. What are they called?
Audio Technica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With these speakers, so I can't wait to get that set up and listen to that later.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's
Yeah.
just something very different. But
Yeah.
again, it's just
Yeah.
that experience, not through headphones, not on a little boom box.
Yeah.
That sort of fill the room sound.
Yeah,
It's just a different thing. Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Too much in love with music.
I've got a lot to say on Kanye and his album,
Yeah, I think there's a lot to talk about. Maybe we should just do that.
Go straight
Let's
in.
pivot.
So-
Because we could ramble on forever.
Exactly.
So this week's album, Billy, you chose.
Yeah, so we were going to do Flea's album, weren't we?
We were.
And did you already start listening to it? Before
Yes, I did.
you?
Yeah, I nearly
Apologies.
got. In fact, I think I listened to the whole thing, and then you said, "Let's not do that." I was like, "Ah,
Well, we can come back to it.
well,
Is it not worth it?
that's all right." It's
'cause
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, because I didn't realise it. Because I saw photos of it, and I just thought, oh, I didn't even realise it was Kanye.
Yeah.
And the whole history of it, and because he's been out of the limelight for a while, and he's like Trump. He just seems like when he grabs the headlines, is all you ever see. Like,
So yeah, new album
Yeah.
from Kanye. He's now calling himself Ye, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Kanye West,
Yeah.
as I knew him originally. Now Ye. New album came out end of last month, 27th of March, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. Called Bully.
yeah, yeah,
Says a lot itself.
yeah,
I don't track Kanye West's career, so I don't even really know when his last album was.
yeah,
But I know that he's been basically in the news not mainly due to any fantastic music that he's had out for several years,
yeah,
but he obviously had a very large, exciting heyday
yeah,
for many years
yeah,
when he was kind of broadly loved,
yeah.
and then he went a bit
Went a bit mental,
Off
and
that.
racist.
off that track. Yeah,
Yeah.
anti-Semitic, racist.
That's what
Had
I'm
a go
chatting
at
about.
everything.
There's so much I want to say about this because, like,
Yeah.
where do you go when you're separating the art from the artist? Because I know I know he's done terrible things and released like shirts with swastikas on and stuff like that, and it's awful. But like,
Yeah.
they're releasing films about Michael Jackson now, and
Yeah.
there's a West End play about him, and he's probably done arguably even worse stuff. Like, I don't know if it's potential or not. I don't know if it's been proven, but he seems to be getting away with it, and I don't know if it's because he's dead or if it was never proven while he was alive. And there's other people that have said awful stuff, but then I just think Ye is just so in the public eye. But then he's still playing gigs at the moment, so he hasn't fully gotten away with it. And then how far? It begs the question: can you forgive people? Do people change? Are you just? Do you make a mistake, and it was a pretty big mistake to make, and it wasn't just a one-time thing?
Yeah.
But are you allowed to move on from that as well? It just like it does beg like
Yeah.
moral questions as well about this whole wireless thing.
You're right. Those moral arguments are exceptionally difficult, and you could apply them to lots of different examples. So you said Michael Jackson is one of those. One that came to my mind was Phil Spector, who ended up in prison. No one's not listening to those Phil Spector Wall of Sound albums or Let It Be by the Beatles because Phil Spector produced it.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's examples of this. We even talked about it a little bit before we did Sun Kill Moon, didn't we? Because we thought he'd been a little bit slightly cancelled at some point for something, and we didn't even know what it was.
No,
We just sort of heard that he heard that we might have been. And there's that kind of I don't maybe not respect the politics, but still respect the music. Or do you not listen to anything as well? I can't, whoever it might be. I remember a girlfriend that I had at the time. And I just thought this was mad. She stopped listening to, having been a big fan of Madonna, she stopped listening to Madonna because she read in a book by Richard E. Grant, the actor, that Madonna hadn't been very nice to him when he was on film set. And she liked Richard E. Grant. So she decided that she didn't like Madonna anymore.
Yeah, where's the line? How bad do they have to be? Shooting someone's all right, apparently. But if you're not nice to them on a film set, I know it's very hard. And I obviously get all, and it's right. Like if you're racist or you're done something sexually like bad or something like that, it's awful. And then I can completely get the argument for not listening to it. But like, I don't know. Like if it's art again, if they've done it after the fact, like this Kanye one, he's done some awful things. But can you still listen to his heyday stuff when he wasn't that person?
Yeah.
Does being in the limelight make you that way? And I'm not. So I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I.
No.
But I don't know.
It's a
just
really challenging argument
Yeah.
because you're quite right. Because this goes back, there's I can't remember which one it is. Classical musician, the composer, I should say. Sorry, who was he? Did the Ride of the Valkyrie and all that kind of stuff. And I can't remember the name of the composer at the moment. It's gone out of my head.
Mozart.
But it wasn't him. But he was a German.
Yeah.
And again, that's that sort of history. There's the sort of known, he was sort of famously anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Roald Dahl, who wrote James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and all that kind of stuff. Again, one of those people who's like, yeah, the books are good, but him,
Really, yeah.
not so sure.
Well,
So
J.K. Rowling now.
J.K. Rowling. So it's like that's not stopping anyone from making new Harry Potter a series that's going to come out. You know, okay, listen, I don't agree with what she says, but it's not going to stop me acting in her TV show, as many of the actors. So it's really challenging to think, well, as you said, where do you draw the line, and why is it maybe? This is very speculative. I don't know. Would you say is it being drawn at a different place for Kanye West, and if so, why? Because all he's done is, at the moment, all he's got is a new album out, but that's not the end of the story.
No.
Because it's like, yeah, he's got a new album out, but...
Yeah, so this is what I want to touch upon. So my friend said, like, put in the chat, I was like, Kanye's just released an album, he's playing Wireless. First time he's played UK in like 10 years. And then, because he's been out the limelight for a while, I'm not saying I forget all the bad stuff he's done, but it's like, oh my God, Kanye's playing, like, we'll never get tickets. Do you want to get a ticket? I was like, yeah, go on. Didn't think we'd get tickets, text us back, yeah, we got tickets. Yeah. And then I started feeling bad, and I started seeing all this stuff. And I was like, do I practice what I preach? Because we're like, love music, hate racism.
Yeah.
Am I a hypocrite now for getting these tickets and then doing that? And I didn't really think about the whole picture. It's like, oh yeah, I'll go to a gig in the summer.
Yeah.
Well, it's a festival, there'll be other bands on, Kanye's there. Even if he's a bit mental, you know it's going to be like... And I was thinking after the fact, I don't really know if I feel comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And then I was texting the boys about it. I was like, should we actually go? Because I don't know if I... Again, saying... The Black Eyed Peas song got stuck in my head, like, Where's the Love? Like, do you practice what you... Or do you turn the other cheek? I was like... I was really having a dilemma about it. I was talking to Charlotte. I was like, shall I sell my ticket? Because I'm not... And they were saying, like, oh, no, he's just, like... He's moved on now, he's apologised for it.
Yeah.
And... But then it got cancelled, and then we got refunded the tickets anyway. So I was like, oh, sort of...
Can you ever be forgiven? Should you ever be forgiven? Because this happens a lot as well. It's like, okay, yeah, you did something wrong, something bad, but you've recognised that it was wrong and bad, and you've apologised for it. Does that make it okay? Or can you still never be forgiven in those things? And I don't think that we have a definitive answer to that in life, in culture.
No,
it seems to be... It depends.
Especially in like the 21st century, is like the whole cancel culture thing, which is like if you make one mistake, it's not one mistake over nothing, but your life is just like, you can't be in the limelight anymore. And if you try to step up into it, and I know it's not just like for anything, it is for bad things. Like, we say you've made a mistake. I don't think a small mistake is releasing thousands of swastika t-shirts. I think that's a pretty big mistake.
No, that was pretty bad, yeah.
And but then, like, if he really felt bad about it, would he put a proportion of his future sales towards like charity and Jewish stuff like that? And that's why I got my refund. I was like, I'm not just going to sit with it. I'm not saying this like big myself up and for well done, I've done. I gave my refunded ticket towards a anti-Semitism charity.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I do and practice what I preach. We give money to a proportion of profit towards love, music, hate racism.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, I've got to do that. And it made me feel like whole. I don't know if I was looking into it too much, but it's tricky. I'm still in a bit of a dilemma about the whole art from the artist thing, but it made me feel better about the situation. Like,
well, and then somehow that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It reminds me of somebody said once, and I can't remember who it was, but I thought that's quite wise, is we all draw the line just under where we are comfortable. So where do you draw the line? It's always, well, everybody draws the line somewhere different, and it's always the bit just underneath where they think, where it's like, well, that's where I go. Yeah. So there isn't a line that you cross because it's moving all the time, and everyone's got their own version of it. Yeah. And that makes it really, really challenging. And say that's there are things that are easy to say, like nobody's saying that anything that Kanye West did or said is right or acceptable or anything like that. That's pretty clear cut. That's pretty definitive as far as most of us are concerned. But then does that mean he can never be allowed to play a gig in the UK again in the future? That seems to be the case at the moment. That seems to be the decision that's made, is no, we won't allow you to do that. Does it mean that if you listen to his record that you're somehow supporting those does it mean that somehow by inference you're supporting what he says? And I'm not, like I said, can you support the art from the artist? Does it mean that? I'm not sure.
Coming back to his album.
Yeah,
We
did listen to his album.
Like, I saw that picture loads of times.
Yeah.
Without realising it was a Kanye West album. I just like scrolling through.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was actual.
And you're sort of, would it be fair to say, broadly a fan, like you said?
Yeah.
You've been a fan in the past. We've covered Kanye album on this.
Got to delete that
that's
now.
how long ago. Well, how long ago it was, because that was before all of that of that happened. That we weren't even discussing any of this because none of it was happening. He was still a bit sort of controversial figure, perhaps, but not in the same way at that point. I've never been a massive fan. And maybe we should actually talk about, what did you think of the music?
So, I think Jack, so my mate Jack Castano was going to go with, they're bigger fans than me. They've loved all these early stuff. And I think Jack put it very well. It's a step in the right direction. And probably a step in the direction backwards to early Kanye, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the last few albums, I can't remember what they're called. One of them was Donda and all that.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be, I don't know, a bit self-indulgent and not, I don't know, a bit long in some places.
Yeah.
And just wasn't right for my ear. This one, I think first couple of tracks I was like, I'm not too sure. The ones with the features on, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then and from there wasn't a track towards like the end of the album where I really thought, a bit bored now.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy it, and I went into it in a very sceptical mind with the whole thing that's been going on, the whole wireless thing, him being cancelled. I would have gone into it quite happily, like going, I'm just going to hate this, and quite happily say it, and be like, but I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And there's a bad thing that you can't help what your ear likes, I suppose, can you? I really like some of the productions on the beats. He's so unique in some of the stuff, some of the choices of like instrumentation, and sometimes not even instruments, just like the noises. He's almost like what's it called, a Foley artist, where they just choose stuff like. He's very
footsteps and rustling papers.
Yeah, and some of the stuff, and he turns them into beats. It's quite industrial.
Yeah,
I can imagine something like in a Nine Inch Nails sort of album we like did the other day.
Yeah, I was thinking bits of Depeche Mode actually. Yeah, similar. Yeah, that kind of sound. Yeah,
and he's still very clever, still groundbreaking in some ways, even though he's been about for the last 20 odd years. I enjoyed this a lot more than the last couple.
Yeah.
Because again, maybe he says he's changed now. Maybe he's coming out that frame of mind.
Yeah.
Maybe the last couple albums where he was going through something, we don't know. This sounds like the old Kanye. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's like top 5 albums at all.
Yeah.
But I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm very surprised to say.
Yeah. I'm sort of similar. I'm surprised to say as well, because I'm not like there's nothing about a new Kanye West album or Ye album, whatever he wants to call himself, out that made me go, oh great, I must listen to that then, because I've never really been attracted to listening to anything in the past. Early stuff, always like things like Gold Digger and stuff like that, and what was it called, Kiss the Sky, whatever. You know what I mean, all that sort of early period stuff. And I can remember walking around the tube stations, because all these covers had that sort of
teddy bear
thing. College Dropout, think I don't know what this is, and then discovering who he was, and then hearing some of the music, thinking actually this is pretty cool, but it's not my scene, so I wasn't seeking anything out or listening to albums. I do remember bits from 808 and Heartbreaks when that came out, because I thought that was really interesting, that it was different, it was just so sort of pared back.
That's the one we did, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was, just him and the drum machine, basically. I thought that was really interesting. But there's nothing that would draw me towards it. So I had no clue that there was a new album out at all until you told me that there was. So again, same as you, I approached this with some trepidation, thinking, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, again, I'm not going to go back and listen to it loads. There was nothing that I thought, wow, this is amazing. But it's really pretty easy to listen to.
And and it keeps you going, like it's earwiggy in places you think like it's always something a little bit extra there. And I don't know if I could like...
And it's concise as well. I like that. A lot of the tracks are short.
Because you think it was 18 tracks or something like that. It was quite... But it doesn't feel long in places at all. I don't know if there was any like standout singles. I couldn't sing you one back straight away. If I heard it, I could.
There were bits, the things that I noted or recognised, there's quite a lot of reasonably well-known samples or interpolations
and like motifs. He's just like
But there's one track that's basically a Bacharach and David song. They've just like reinterpreted the song largely, but all the lyric and the melody is the same.
Oh really? Yeah.
So yeah, those sort of things. Well, I'll remember those because I already know them.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was other versions, similar things that had those samples and interpolations on them. But also really nicely used because it's not just a cover.
Yeah.
It's in the song.
Another way of sampling, I suppose, isn't it? Which has always been part of hip hop.
Yeah.
And just making it your own. But I would go back and listen to it, and yeah, maybe I think I would enjoy this a lot more than the Flea Jazz album, because that is not saying I wouldn't enjoy it, but it's going to be a harder listen. That one we know we like it. I definitely have my hip hop.
Do you know
like
what? I did listen to it, and I wouldn't say it is actually a hard listen.
No.
It is quite jazzy in parts.
What did you prefer?
Well, that's a tricky one. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Should we set for another podcast?
I suppose, I suppose I would probably more likely listen to the Flea one again.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think how to phrase this. It's probably because it's quite easy just to put on in the background.
Yeah.
And just have because it is sort of jazz and music and there's a lot of instrumental.
I'd love to have.
So it's easy just to have on and go like, oh, that sounds quite cool.
I'd love to be that cool to say like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put my jazz album while I'm having a
He's
dinner
wanted
party.
to do it for years, apparently.
Really?
I mean, there's an obvious thing that might say, oh, you would hate it, Billy, because it's got, like, Nick Cave does the vocal on one of the songs.
Oh,
so, you know, that's
Let's
going to
skip
put
that
you
one.
off straight away, because we've already spoken about that. But yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Not love it, but if it was a straight choice between the two, I would probably, if I had to choose, you can only have one of these ever.
Yeah.
Which one should live and which one should die? I'd probably go with the Flea one.
Really?
Just because I think it's got a little bit more variety and it's a little more my style of music anyway.
Yeah. Things
Things I would listen to. But I'd say that sounds like that I don't like the Kanye one, but that's not true. It's fine. I've only listened to it really once, so there's not loads of memorable stuff. I can't really pick out names of tracks or things, but there are things that I remember because they were recognisable. And by and large, I thought, this is all right. This is quite cool.
Do you think
It's quite commercially enjoyable. There are sort of things that are on it. You go, this is just. It's not hard work.
No.
Basically, I suppose I'm trying to say.
Sometimes it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be like, oh, I've really got to get into this, because I was moaning about films being like, oh, long and boring for the sake of it, and books, why are you being so wordy?
Yeah.
Where I probably like some prog stuff that people don't like.
Yeah.
So it's the same with music. It's like, you like what you like, don't you? And if you listen to a certain type of music enough, you can hear sort of like the intricacies in between.
You start to understand the genre a little bit more
Yeah.
and hear things that you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those weird phrases, isn't it? It's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
You say, well, why would I want to acquire a taste?
yeah.
Either
Yeah.
I like it or I don't, surely.
Yeah.
But there are things that you go,
I don't think this is
over
bland,
time you
though.
go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. I don't think this is bland saying it's an easy listen.
Yeah.
It's an easy listen while being still really clever.
Yeah.
Production's amazing.
And it's still genre,
Yeah.
like it's still hip hop, right?
Yeah.
It's not like outside that genre. He's
No.
not suddenly gone an indie punk or a jazz album
Yeah.
like Flea. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's
But it
still
just sounds-
it's still him doing his thing.
Yeah, and it sounds like the old Kanye, which is good.
Yeah.
But I think if this was some new artist coming along from Hartford or wherever, or someone like, we'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the next big thing.
That's a really good point.
It's just like, this is Kanye. We know how good he is. He's one of the goats of like in that genre or whatever. It's just like, it's another Kanye album. It's good. It's not his best, but the best is unreal, isn't
Yeah.
it? So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and we'll listen to it again. And I want to see how Kanye gets on. He says he's regrets it, and I don't know. I'll see how the public react to it.
I found it bizarre. I suppose if there's anything that I find really weird is how quickly that whole developed in that, okay, he's got an album out, he's just been announced as the headliner at Wireless. He's now been not allowed to come to Wireless because there's been a political outcry and now Wireless is cancelled. How quickly that all happened seemed nuts to me.
If you're Wireless organisers and everything, because all the sponsors pulled out, you must tell your sponsors like, we've got to have this headliner.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then you must have think he's a bit, let's double check. So it just seems bad organisation as well.
Yeah.
But he's been peddled it.
It seems crazy. Who did what when? Said who knows? It's like, did Pepsi really not know that was what was in the plan?
Yeah.
Did they withdraw because they didn't know or because they didn't expect the reaction and that was the best way for them to react to it? It's just so weird.
Yeah.
It is so weird. If you like old school Kanye West, the new
Listen to the
Kanye
College
West
Dropout.
album. If you do, just listen to old school Kanye West. That's the quick answer. Yeah, forget everything that he's done for the last 6 years, musically, personally. That's the safest way. Yeah, it was I mean, if nothing else, and I didn't expect that we would really be opening up this conversation to the extent that we did.
Yeah.
So that's sort of interesting in itself, I suppose, because like you said, that idea of divorcing art from artist is, you know, it's not a new discussion. It's been going on for forever, and can be pretty tricky.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
I like the music, but I don't like them. Pretty challenging. That was the Apollo Audio Podcast.
Thank you,
for
Martin.
this week. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
We'll do this again next time. You can find us on Instagram at Apollo Audio Podcast. It's Gmail. No, I still can't find a good way of saying this. You can write to us on email at apolloaudiopod@gmail.com. And for all your other requirements, musical or otherwise, no, not otherwise, just musical.
Please don't send us personal
What
requests.
otherwise would there be? For all your musical requirements, tuition, rehearsal, performance, production and recording, it's apollo-audio.co.uk.
Yes.
Come find us, come have fun. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You sure you forgive me?